go into the into into, and then my dream go further because I saw in my dream opposition coming, and then my dream go further and say, yeah, but we just have celebrate Christmas, and Jesus is born, but he uh, carry the will of God, and he has restored all the connections that was for Adam and Eve. So he make a very perfect connection again. So if you will receive Jesus, then you have the right connection to have the blessing and the prosperity and the health. So that was my dream, and that is my first thing I will preach about Facebook.
Wow. So anyway, I just want to do the intro. Good evening and God bless you and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we are late, of course, because we spent the day and this whole time chatting with each other, and then we forgot all about you. But then, lucky for you, here we are. Anyway, thank you for joining us from around the world. Thank you for sticking with us. And I think it's like 5.5 years now. So big shout out to everyone who is loyal and faithful. And this is incidentally the subject of today. So we can pick up about the conversation a little bit later on, but let's just go on with the message since it's late. Yes, I was thinking, and I was actually talking to a prophet friend of mine regarding how the Bible talks about the prodigal son. Everybody knows about the prodigal son, right?
Yes.
I think this is probably the first story that everybody hears. Somehow, this is just so famous, even amongst non-believers, and it's a good thing. And of course, I want to preface this message by saying that I understand that I'm fully aware that the prodigal son is basically about the father's heart to us. So it's about the father's heart. It's yeah. But I also want to show another aspect of it. So I wonder if maybe Mark, you can read just that portion where the prodigal son, of course, we know the story, when he came to himself, when he looked around these unpleasant surroundings, and then he decided to go back to the father, and the father, of course, gave him a very big celebration, as opposed to the son who was there all along. Yeah, if you can read that portion.
Yes, I'm just going to look it up
And
here.
then, sure, and then, or anybody else can read it. Alexander, you can read it as well.
Luke 15.
Yeah, Luke 15.
So apparently there were two sons of a rich man. And one day, the younger one decided he wants to go and see the world, and he wants to do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't want to stay with his father in the father's house, in the father's estate, and doesn't want to work with the father and with the family. He just wants to run around and do his own thing, and demanded his inheritance to be given to him.
Right.
And then he, of course, squandered it, wasn't very successful. He was beaten and all that. So you pick it up from here, Mark.
Sure. So this is Luke 15, verse 20. Is there a particular version or it doesn't matter?
17?
Doesn't matter. It's just the story.
Okay.
17, I think.
So 17, you want me to go back to there? Sure. No problem. 17. So humiliated by what you just said there, Princess Rika, and now he's coming to the realization that, he should probably go home. So humiliated, the son finally realized what he was doing, and he thought, there are many workers at my father's house who have all the food they want with plenty to spare. They lack nothing. Why am I here dying of hunger, feeding these pigs and eating their slop? I want to go back to my father's house, and I'll say to him, Father, I was wrong. I have sinned against you. I'll never again be worthy to be called your son. Please, Father, just treat me like one of your employees. So the son set off for home. From a long distance away, his father saw him coming, dressed as a beggar, and great compassion swelled up in his heart for his son, who was returning home. The father raced out to meet him and swept him up in his arms, hugged him dearly, and kissed him over and over with tender love. Then the son said, "Father, I was wrong. I have sinned against you. I could never deserve to be called your son. Just let me be." And the father interrupted and said, "Son, you're home now." Turning to his servants, the father said, "Quick, bring me the best robe, my very own robe, and I will place it on his shoulders. Bring the ring, the seal of sonship, and I will put it on his finger, and bring out the best the best shoes you can find for my son, and let's prepare a great feast and celebrate. For my beloved son was once dead, and now he's alive. Once he was lost, but now he is found, and everyone celebrated with overflowing joy."
Everyone except.
Except, I can read that part too if you'd like.
Yes, if you would, please.
Okay. Now the older son was out working in the field when his brother returned, and as he approached the house, he heard the music of celebration and dancing. He called over one of the servants and asked, "What's going on?" The servant replied, "It's your younger brother. He's returned home, and your father is throwing a party to celebrate his homecoming." The older son became angry and refused to go in and celebrate. So his father came out and pleaded with him, "Come and enjoy the feast with us." The son said, "Father, listen, how many years have I worked like a slave for you, performing every duty you've asked as a faithful son, and I've never once disobeyed you. But you've never thrown a party for me because of my faithfulness. Never once have you even given me a goat that I could feast and celebrate with my friends, as this son of yours is doing now. Look at him. He comes back after wasting your wealth on prostitutes and reckless living, and here you are throwing a great feast to celebrate for him." The father said, "Son, you are always with me, by my side. Everything I have is yours to enjoy. It's only right to rejoice and celebrate like this because your brother was once dead and gone, but now he is alive and back with us. He was lost, but now he is found."
Okay, so who thinks that this is a beautiful story?
Yes, I do.
Everybody, okay. Who is with the youngest son? Who is with the oldest son?
Yeah.
This is the side I have never heard anybody teach or even address in Christian circles or anywhere else for that matter. But and in no particular order. I mean, I just want to give you my perception and perspective on that. First of all, it seems to me that the younger son has never worked a day in his life. He never served a day in his life. The older son did. So even while living in the house of his father, he basically benefited of the work of the father and of the older son, his brother.
That's right.
And then he decided that he's a big shot. He just wants to have a great career. I don't know why, how though, because there's no professional skills that I can detect in the guy. So he's going to make it big in the world. Okay, he could have stayed there and he could have actually learned the trade, whatever they were trading in the family, but he could have actually learned something. So his desire wasn't exactly to learn something or to work. He just wanted to be going out and have fun in the world with the father's money, mind you, because he had none of his own, right? So no wonder that he failed. It's not a wonder that he failed. The father knew he's going to fail. In my opinion, also the older brother knew that he's going to fail. Now, nobody has to agree with me, but this is my perception, this is my opinion, and this is my experience because I've seen it so many times in the church. I'm glad you have read, Mark, the part when he talks to himself, I don't think he was honest. It seems to me that he concocted a plan, just my opinion. I'm going to go back to my father, plan one, and I'm going to say to him, and notice how he keeps talking about himself. He never once mentioned that, you know what, I'm missing my father. I believe he was right. Now I see how wrong I was. Maybe he thought it could be an argument that this is what he thought, but this is not what we're reading, is it? So it seems to me that Jesus, who was of course telling this parable to his disciples and to us, really, he knew exactly what is in the heart of that younger son. He was not deceived, and the father was not deceived by the sudden 180 turn of the younger son. When he appeared in rags, he knew that he's not coming because he's missing the father. Had he, would have he returned had everything gone well for him? He would have never returned.
Right.
Again, just my opinion, reading between the lines.
Wow.
The only reason he returned, because things were not going well for him. And he had no money. He was eating with the pigs, which in my opinion is exactly what he deserved. Just my opinion here.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be judgmental. This is my show. So this is our show, and everybody is allowed to say their opinion. This is an interactive place and a safe place. You can just say whatever you want. But it's reading between the lines. This is the we are getting a story, but you also need to be reading between the lines, because you have to have the full picture. And the reason why you have to have the full picture, because from my experience, extensive experience with Christians, I've seen it so many times that people run around, they are not doing well in the world because they get into all kinds of things they know they should not be going into, okay? For instance, I don't quote it, I'm just amplifying it in my head, but basically what happens is that the older son, the younger son was running around with thieves. That means that he was part of the gang. Make sense? Make sense?
Yeah.
Just so be clear. He was not suffering party of the thief company. He was one of the thieves.
Yeah.
Is it what you're reading there? He basically threw his lot with them. That means that this is the gang he hitched himself to. This is the gang he was running around with. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Am I remembering correctly?
Yep.
And of course, he ended up, I mean, it's lucky he didn't end up in prison or worse. He could have been killed, by burglarizing and hurting others. We don't know how many people he fought, he like punched the face or, taking their possessions of it. We don't know how many people he has wronged. If this is the lifestyle he was living, and we're talking about years that he's been gone from the father's house, right? So that's the lifestyle he chose for himself. He didn't just get into these gangs because of, oh, well, I didn't know. He knew exactly what he was doing. So then he takes 180 because things are not going well with him. In fact, things are just absolutely devastating for him. So then he decides that, you know what? I remember the good food I had in my father's house. I remember that I had a ring on my finger. I remember that I had a nice clothes. I remember I was loved. I was adored. That's what he remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually,
Is it or is it not?
yeah, actually, he said, a servant in my father's house is even better off than I'm now. So better be a servant in my father's house than be here.
That's the point. That's what we talk about. So basically, while he was starving and eating with the pigs, he was eating the pig's food, to be exact. Then he remembered, oh, wow, I remember, I don't know, creme brulee, I remember Wiener Schnitzel. It was dancing in front of him. I remember the mulled wine. I remember the candies.
Yes,
I
that's
remember the marshmallows by the fire. I remember, I don't know, all kinds of things he remembered. All those beautiful food were dancing in front of him because he was eating with the pigs, and obviously he remembered that this is not what it is. This is not where he should be. So I just want to point out, okay, that this guy is not a good guy, in my opinion. He's selfish, he's self-centered, and he doesn't like to work. Why do we not read that he went out and he tried his luck with this career and that career, and then he was trying to do this business and that business? No, he was not. And then he failed because at least you tried something. You tried an honest work.
He
We
just
we
spent it all.
read
Yeah.
that he went out and tried to clean someone's house, ended up cleaning
No, he
someone's
didn't.
house because that was like the only thing he could perhaps do, seeing the servants doing the same in his own house, in the father's house. No, he was squandering all the things that he got from the
Wasting his
father's money,
substance, yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then he went with the thief company of the thieves, right? The robbers. Even that didn't work out. So the guy was absolutely not skilled at anything. It seems to me that he was an absolute loser. And then he felt hungry. And then he remembered that he could still go back to the father because the father loves him, right? All I have
Yep.
to say is, oh, I have sinned against you. I would love to be a servant in your house. That's all I have to say, and all will be forgiven. And this is exactly what happened. So I'm sorry. To me, he's not a good guy. He's a loser.
Right.
He's a failure. He didn't try to do any honest work. He didn't know how to work. He didn't even care to work. It seems to me he was very, very lazy. All he wanted to do is get the money and the fortune handed to him. Never a good idea. And then, of course, he failed. And then if he put together a little plan, threw out a few lines to the father to soften his heart, and he got whatever he wanted, and he even got a celebration. Now let's talk about the older son, who saw, in my opinion, okay, I'm not a parent, but I think parents can be biased with one child versus the other. If you have two children, one of them is always present, always nice, always, helps me, cleans the house, cooks the dinner. Let's be practical here. So, or maybe even runs the business, maybe takes care of you, maybe takes care of the whole house, maybe runs the whole, affairs of the house. So basically the person is reliable, loyal, steadfast, honest, diligent, all the things the younger one was not. So because you might have these two children, one of them is this character and the other one is the trouble person. More often than not, all your attention as a parent will be turned towards the troubled son or the troubled child, whether it's male or female, it makes no difference whatsoever.
That's
And
right.
somehow she or he gets all the attention. And the other one, who is always dependable, you take him for granted. And in my opinion, the way I read it and the way I see it, combined with my personal experiences, many, many experiences, it seems to me that the older son was taken for granted because he was always faithful, always diligent. You are here with me always, the father says with his own admission, okay? So to me, he was the one that should have been set as an example for the younger one.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the younger one didn't regard very much the older son. He said the older, in my opinion, it seems to me that the younger son must have said to himself, you know what, I don't want to end up like him. I don't want to be serving my father day in and day out for decades. I want to go out and do my own thing in my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put up my hand, so I don't know what happened here. Forget that. And I didn't even touch the screen. Whatever.
No, it automatically does it. If you raise your hand for a while, it'll just automatically
Seriously?
put it up. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. There, now
Okay,
you put it
good.
down or yeah.
That's so funny. So now we know. That's actually a good feature. But anyway, so it seems to me that the younger son looked at, let's call him Johnny. So Johnny looked at the older brother. Instead of using him as an example and taking good notes, mental notes, okay, you know what? I want to be as skilled as my brother. Johnny said to himself, you know what? I think my older brother is a fool. I think I see how my father is turning all of his attention towards me. The older brother doesn't get any attention. So I don't want to end up like him. It seems like he's been taken for granted. So I don't want to end up like him. I'm going to do my own thing and then get the celebration and the attention I need and whatever, I'm just going to do I don't want to serve. In other words, I don't want to serve. So maybe I don't doubt that indeed the older brother, basically all the father he had was indeed at the disposal of the older brother. But the older brother, it seems to me, didn't have the time to enjoy any of these because all he was doing is serving. All he was doing is working for the father mostly. Maybe his attitude was not right, but we don't read about that, only towards the very end in this context. But usually, I think for all these years of service, he had a good attitude because he could have run around and squandered the money and build a career for himself. And I think he would have had the skill sets as well because he already served in the father's house, accumulated all the skill sets that he may have needed to run his own gig, to run his own career, wherever he wanted to, or move away or whatever, change the scenery a little bit. But instead, he chose to stay. So I, from my perspective, want to give a big shout out to all the people who are serving day in and day out, who are diligent for decades, because those who don't do that, they don't know how hard it is. Showing up every day with the right attitude, serving wherever you are, whether it's your family or a ministry or a man of God or a woman of God, and you are dependable, you are diligent, you are faithful, you are loyal. You have other options, but you say no to them because your heart is a servant's heart, and you want to serve where God put you. Okay, so I for one want to give a big shout out and a congratulations and thank you and thank God for you and God bless you for your service. I hope you are going to be rewarded. I'm still waiting for my rewards. Okay, and I want to be honest about it. And I don't think that this story is all about the older son, I mean the younger son and the older son, whether to no. In my opinion, he had every right and every reason and every logical sense to ask the questions he was asking. Why are you celebrating this idiot? All he did was squandering your money, our money, right? Because you just said that this was my money as well. He squandered it. He brought bad reputation to your name because the guy was running around on the father's name, right? The father's last name he was using. Everybody knew that the guy came from that household. In those years, that's how it went. You would know that, when you hear I don't want to say this name because just in case we are going to be censored, like the Arab in the Arab world, in the Arab nations and cultures, you are named like Bin Laden means the son of Laden. You understand? So let's say is Johnny Bin Laden. So everybody knew that he came from the Laden household.
Right.
You understand? So there's no way he would run around and people would not recognize that this fool is from that household. He got his inheritance, which he was only supposed to get after the father's death. Okay, so the guy is a weasel. He is not a person of character by no means. He's also a fool. He has zero skill sets to recommend him. He knows nothing about nothing. Never served a day in his life. He will definitely fail. So of course, all the horrible people, all the criminals and all the leeches were just like piranhas. They run towards him and basically got his money. But nevertheless, that's on the guy, that's on Johnny, because Johnny is an idiot. Okay, so that's just my translation of this. So that, in my opinion, that's not the prodigal son, the story of the prodigal son. That's the story of the idiot little boy who knew that he can just do whatever he wants to do and he's going to be successful. I don't know what made him think that he's going to be successful. Probably because he's looking at the older guy. You know what? Sometimes what happens is that you don't think that your brother or sister is particularly smart. And because you see them serving and doing things day in and day out, you think that it's so easy to do because they do it because of their skill sets and their years of experience. It seems like it's easy. It's easy because they do it with ease. They do it with ease because they have years and decades of experience under their belt. That's why it's easy. But for you, stepping out there and trying to do the same, you're going to fail because you never served a day in your life.
That's right.
So it's just my interpretation of the story of the idiot and his gullible father. Although I would like to believe that the father knew what was the heart intention of the younger guy and was not fooled by his performance of, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I hope that he is never going to do it again. He's never going to run around again and squander, but I cannot be sure. I hope he learned his lesson. I hope he learned his lesson, but we don't know because we don't know what the story is. But I think. Again, I prefaced it with the thought that, of course, I understand that this story was presented at the time for the disciples about the Father's heart. And I understand that message. But I like to look at the characters of the different players. And I think, in my opinion, and from my perspective, this is the character of the younger boy. And nothing to look at as an example, in my opinion, again, but I would much rather like to point out the older brother as somebody whose character and lifestyle and attitude was in fact commendable. So I just put a story in front of you and I turned it from another angle, and I want you to look at it from another angle, if you will. If you don't want to, that's fine too. You can just stick to your regular perspective, how wonderful that the younger son came home and got the celebration he did not deserve at all whatsoever. But I think he should have been put to work. And I'm not saying it because I'm cruel, but because I'm practical. He should have been put to work. And I hope maybe after the celebration, he had to clean up or something. I hope they had at least 300 different guests and he had to do the dishes or do something. Come on, do an honest day work in your life so that you would learn what it takes to be faithful, loyal, and a working individual. So hopefully he learned his lesson, or at least after the party, he was put to work in some kind of a field of business they were trafficking in anyway. But I think it's good to look at things in different perspective, and I don't think that the older brother was out of line to ask the question, why are you celebrating this idiot? That's just my perspective.
Okay.
Because guess what? I am in the position most of the times when I serve day in and day out, not being recognized for it. Not that recognition matters so much. I kind of grew out of that. I mean, after a while, you just give it up. But I'm just saying that I'm looking at people, and I don't really want to name names, but maybe I will, so that to make it more personal. Let's say Justin Bieber. Singer, horrible lifestyle, lots of money, lots of fame, lots of platform, whatever. And then the guy decides, you know what, I don't like this, because I'm being controlled by my handlers. I have to do certain things, which of course at some point he said yes to. Hello, that's how he got his platform. If you say no to those things that, those compromises that he had to make, you don't get the platform. But guess what? We only hear about people who said yes to all those horrible things and that horrible lifestyle. Yeah. The rest who said no, you never hear from again. because they said no. Fame, with everything else that it entails, and you just fill in the blanks. Every horrible things they had to do, Satanism, sacrifices, everything. These people are not white people, not white like the snow behind you guys and behind us. So just to see the full picture. So now Justin Bieber, for instance, but I could name others as well. He decides that he doesn't like the lifestyle because he's being too controlled. In other words, things were not going well with him, right? Not money-wise, but in every other aspect. I mean, the guy was a mess, which is in fact what that lifestyle entails, that he said yes to many years ago. So then he decides, I'm going to go back to a church because, you know what, I used to go to the church, or maybe I just heard that the church people are nice and they're going to celebrate me. And now I'm saved. I'm Christian. And what do the dumb Christians do? They put him onto the stage. They put him to be a worship leader. Excuse you? Why? Was the guy cleaned? Or is he going to spread the filth that he's spreading? And by the way, Justin Bieber, not that I'm listening to any of these songs, but the guy is still running with the same crowd. The worldly crowd when he is not in church, but when he's in church, he's on the stage and he's Christian. But I can say Russell Brand as well. I can say a lot of other names as well. So many messages you can walk away with, but one of the messages I want to say: let's not be too quick to put these poster people, celebrities, on stage right immediately when they come in the door and they decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to be Christian now, because now it became fashionable to be saved, and or say that I'm saved, whatever that means, or because I didn't do well in the world, or things were done to me, or things I had to participate in which I didn't like. Of course, by all means, go to the church, but let's not be quick to put them on stage, put them up as examples. What about the celebration of all those people who in fact make the church? The people who arrange the chairs, why are they not on stage being celebrated? God forbid even compensated, receiving any kind of monetary compensation for their work as a bonus. What about those who cook behind the scenes? What about those who sweep the floors? What about those who do the flower arrangements every single meeting? That's at least Wednesdays and Sundays, okay? But possibly every day, because in some churches you have some function every single day, which is a good thing. You know, utilize your building, get the people together. At least they are not out there doing whatever they're not supposed to be doing. Not a problem. Let's celebrate those who are faithful, loyal, diligent. Do you know how hard it is to show up every single day with proper attitude, excited, taking this as a challenge, even though nobody seemed to be taking much notice of you, because they take you for granted, because you're always there, because you're nice, because you're, you know, or maybe you're not nice, but at least you do a very good job. And, you know, you see what I'm saying? How about celebrating those people? How about giving them a platform? How about putting these people up as an example? Because guess what? It's much easier to come in from a horrible lifestyle and then be celebrated also in church, on the stage, okay? And everybody's like, wow, you know, I'm so lucky that I can be in the same church as Justin Bieber, and I'm just using him. It could be other people as well. It could be other people as well. I'm not doubting his sincerity, and definitely being in the church versus where he's usually running around. Much better, of course. But let's handle things and let's handle people in their proper places. I want to hear much more about people who serve daily, who hold services, who get up in the middle of the night to pray for you because you have a problem. How about those people are not celebrated? What about those people who are not being celebrated because they are intercessors? Do you know how hard it is to be steadfastly interceding for people and for things that they don't seem to come to pass? Things don't seem to change, and yet you are still there every single day on your knees, in your prayer group, or even worse, alone, because no one else is praying with you. How about that? Why don't we celebrate those people? We have this upside down celebrity culture in our churches. Hopefully not every, but many that I have seen, and I've seen a lot. What kind of nonsense is this? What kind of nonsense is this? I'm not looking for recognition. I'm so over it. I'm so beyond that. But I'm seeing people, you're losing your best people because you're putting the idiots up on stage who just got saved, who were celebrated in the world, coming out from horrible lifestyle, which they said yes to, which they agreed to, because if not, they could have walked away at any moment. They certainly had the money to step away from all the fame. They didn't want to. But they came crying to the church, and the church received them, rightfully so. We received people, but we also cleaned them before we put them up, because before we hoist them up on stage and put them up as example, as someone to follow. Because when you put someone on the stage, people automatically in the crowd, in the audience, will look up to that person as if someone that they need to follow, because they trust the dumb leadership of the church who put them up there and who put them a microphone in their up to their mouth so that they can spread their filth that they have never been cleaned of. Not really. And in my opinion and in my experience, there is a time that they should have been set down before they hoist up on stage. Yeah. When they come from a horrible background, they need, in my opinion, years of cleaning and just a resetting of the mindset, a resetting of their heart, a resetting of their attitude, everything, before they are even, if ever, they are being put up stage. Because particularly Justin Bieber is still running with the same crowd, because the guy is still holding concerts. Not particularly Christian music. Just because you sing a few Christian songs and then all the filth as well, that's not how it works. If you change, I want to see fruits of your changing, fruits of your redemption, fruits of your turn around. People who have really turned around, they don't even want to recognize the filth that they have been swimming in for years. How do we know that? Look at the Bible characters. Look at Paul. He said, everything I have gained. And he wasn't doing filthy stuff. Well, he was killing people. Well, there's that. But anyway, but he did zeal. We commend him for that. But he said all the accolades, all these, he was in the highest level of his peers. Things that he could have been very proud of, rightfully so. Because he gained all these things with his hard work, with his zealousness, with his skills, with his hard work. He said, all these things I count as dung. That's what he said. I count as crap, count as shite, okay, for lack of a better term. But the point is, he knew where he came from, and he never, ever wanted to go back to that. Can we read that, in fact, because I like the particular, I know Frida knows that by heart, but for the rest of us who don't know it by heart, if you could please be so kind to quote that scripture or find that scripture when he talks about when he lists all these accolades, and then he says, but I count all this as nothing. And I would never want to return to that again. That's the attitude I want to see from people who came from this horrible lifestyle, and even especially from those people who were with Jesus, running with him, great ministry, but then they went astray, and then they were exposed, because that's what it is. Rarely you find a Christian minister who comes back on their own and says, you know what, I confess that I was in this sin. No. You get exposed, and then somehow in 2 months, the guy's back on stage with a microphone. I don't approve. I don't approve. I don't approve. I will never approve. That's not what you should do. Go ahead, Frida.
Oh, Mark.
Or whoever has the scripture.
I just put that down for reference.
Okay.
But I can look it up.
But it remembers me of an article a long time ago in a Christian magazine, And the
Sorry, can we
title wa-
just read that scripture?
Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
then you go ahead. Let's read that scripture to tie it back with a nice bow, so
No
people won't
problem.
lose their track of thoughts, because I think it's very
Okay,
important to
yes.
rant about these things
Yes,
on the first
you're right. The word
Royal
first.
Club meeting.
But what things were gain to me, those I counted loss for Christ. Yet doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I
Thank
may
you.
win Christ and be found in him, not having mine own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Christ, the righteousness which is of God by faith, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death.
There. So basically, we see this clearly outlined, that he didn't regard all these things. He didn't want to go into Christianity, if you will, into ministry with all this baggage. All his, let's say you have served in the army, which is a very, very honorable thing, very honorable. I would have made a great general, really. Not so much a private, but general. That's another sidetrack here. That's the subject for next week. No one's going to show up. But anyway, so, and then you have all these things. Oh, Maduro, all the things on his, wherever his uniform. I don't know if the guy ever served a day in his army, but he had the things, right? That's what we do these days. So we just put the things there. So Paul, the Apostle Paul, didn't want to go into Christianity, into ministry with all these things that he gained in the world, serving the devil.
Mhm.
Which he was at the time convinced that he's actually doing the right thing. So that's yet another thing, because the guy was honest. He was very, very honest. He really thought that he's serving the God with whatever he's doing, all the horrible things he's doing. So there's a big difference between him and Justin Bieber, but that's just my opinion over here. But anyway, so I'm not raining on the guy, but it's more about the Christian leaders, ministers, who should know better not to give him a microphone, because he's not yet solid. And that's a very nice way to say it. So, because you don't want to get the mixture. Of course, there's another aspect to it. Whoever is speaking from the stage, especially using a microphone, loudspeakers, and all that, they are spreading a spirit. Now, is that the spirit you want to spread? Somebody just came out from this lifestyle, if he even came out of that completely, because we cannot be sure. The guy still seems to be running with the same crowd, as far as I can see. But again, I can name any other people as well. You need to have a clean cut from your old lifestyle.
That's true.
Before
Yes.
you can serve, not before you can come in. Everybody can come to the church. Church is for people who want to be changed. But ministers should be those who have already changed. Make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they don't want to use their old skill sets, in terms of manipulation and things like that. That's what I mean. And their celebrity status in the church. Because in church, there's only one celebrity, and his name is Jesus. This is where I stand, and I'm not moving from this position. So I want to celebrate the older son. I want to rain on the younger son, because I think he's an idiot. He's dishonest. And I really hold it to be very self-evident that he would not have returned had he been successful in the world. He only returned because he wasn't successful. And I think Jesus he leaves basically no doubt in our mind that he knows exactly that the only reason we go to him, for the most part, is because we are unhappy in the world. We are unhappy with what we are doing, with our own things that we thought to be making us happy, making us successful, making us whatever. The only reason we return to the Father because we know that we have made a mistake, and because we are better off in his house than anywhere else. Now, if this is your initial thought, I have no problem with that. As long as your redemption and your attitude is right, which to me doesn't seem that was the case in the younger son, but that's just my interpretation of the story. If others, God bless you. We are all seeing things in part, but that's my rant today. And I would like to all open it up with your thoughtful, deep, insightful thoughts. And let me know what you think. You don't have to agree. This is just my opinion over here and my experience. And I think at the very least, we need to look at each character.
Yes.
And not just look at it so conveniently how we have always heard the teachings and the preachings about it. Oh, the older son was so bad and so jealous. I don't know if he was jealous. He just saw that this is unfair, and I'm with him. I think it's unfair. And the older son should have been more celebrated while he was in the father's house. So he would not have felt that he's just there and being taken for granted for all his years of loyal service. That's just my 2 cents on the story.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so interesting. First,
we've seen that in
I imagine.
churches.
It's hard not to.
I mean, people who were on drugs or had a horrible life, and they came to us on the streets, and they kind of repent, and then they were kind of celebrated in the church.
Yeah.
And that was what I wanted to tell. There was a title of an article in a magazine long ago, and that was "The cookies are for the guests." So,
wow.
So that was because everybody who was a guest could come in, have the cookies, have the meals, and
but nothing for those who are there.
That's right.
They came from a long distance, Frida. They come from a long distance too. They had traveled the whole day, and then the people said the cookies are for the guests.
Yeah.
That was an actual sign. That was actual sign.
That was the title of an article in the magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
go on, Frida.
The cookies are for the guests and for the celebrities, which is not, and in brackets, which is not you.
Nevertheless, there is the father is approaching both sons in this story. He receives the youngest, but he talks to the elders also.
Yeah.
You were always with me. You were there. He has. Yeah. In other words, I have seen you. Right?
Funny how the older son didn't have this impression.
Can you say that again, please?
Funny how the older son did not have this impression that he was seen.
Yeah.
Can I just say something? Just to put it very plainly. If okay, again, I'm not a mother, but I am a daughter.
Yeah.
Obviously. So when you're okay, how to put this nicely?
You don't have to put it nicely. You can say
if you have to, as a parent, if you have to go to one of your child and you have to tell them that you know that I love you.
Yeah.
That indicates to me that it wasn't obvious for that child. It wasn't obvious to that child that she was loved or he was loved.
Mm-hmm.
So this is because I have experienced it from my perspective, not from the parents' perspective, but from the daughter's perspective. Yeah. And I just, and you would look at your mother, it's like, no, I didn't know that I was loved. You see what I'm saying? So to your point, Frida, when you said that but the father talked to the older son. Well, the father talked to the older son because the older son went to him and addressed the situation
Yes.
that I too
Yes.
find unfair
Yeah.
in this context. And
So
that's why the father said to the older son, I have always seen you. It doesn't seem to me that the older son felt seen. Do you understand?
Right.
It seems to me that the
Yeah.
older son felt all these years that he's being taken advantage of, not advantage, taken for granted. Go ahead, Alexander.
And yes, when you were going to start, many things came in my mind. Because could it be that the eldest son and the other son, they were brothers, and they had the same father? Yeah.
They are the
And,
same. They
and,
are from the
and
same
yes,
father. It's
they
not a
they have
possibility.
the same father.
It's a
And
certainty.
and I can testify. I have 5 children, and I can tell you all my 5 children will have a different perspective from me.
Yes, of course.
Who it's so, and the maybe the eldest son was relieved that the youngest son was going his way, and there was, so to say, room in the home, room in the farm, or room in the business
I
for
don't
the
think
eldest
so,
son.
because
So
the younger
maybe
son
he was
didn't do
glad he was
anything.
gone. You don't know, and he don't expect his brother back. His father
Probably not. Yeah,
expect.
probably not.
And then I have beautiful painting. I have a book with Rembrandt, of course. And then we have here the
Yes, I know the painting. Yeah, we have the
you
same
wrote the
book.
painting.
Yeah.
I couldn't, let's see. And there's a beautiful painting. The father has one man hand and one woman hand, and the son had one shoe on and the other foot is barefoot, but it's doing this. Welcome
Hugging.
home.
Yes.
Welcome home.
Yeah, no one
and
argues your point. No one argues your point. No
yeah,
one argues your point. This is how I prefaced it. It's
this
about
is this
father's heart.
and
All
and
I'm
look
saying is what I
and
have seen from the story translated into today's church society. Sadly, those who are there as an older son, quote unquote, day in and day out serving, are not appreciated. When someone comes in, like a prodigal son, quote unquote, they are celebrated immediately. And they are given immediately all the options, all the celebration, all the attention, all the monetary compensation, everything that should have been gone to those who have been in the church for many, many years or in the ministry. And I say it is not right. It's not fair. It's not how it should be. And this is how you are going to lose your best people, because eventually they're going to have enough, and you're going to end up just with the prodigal sons who have no skills, no desire to serve, and no good attitude.
And I can testify in my own life. We were in
Doesn't disappear.
our church, and we did a lot of work to have a whole week of studies and celebration in our church. And the pastor and his wife were far away, and we arranged all the things.
Yeah.
And then the last day, we have preached together, and the pastor didn't found that I was preaching very, very well, and it was not very well. And then he told me, "You want to preach in the church at Sunday?" I said, "Oh no, I don't want. That's not my longing." And he was very he said not very nice things to me. And then said, "Well, I don't need to preach in your church. I have a world outside the church. I can preach there." So it was over for me. But later on, I recognize that he doesn't honor me what I did during the week, you know.
It's
So
very clear when honor is not present, I think.
they understood not what I did, but they all only told him what I did wrong, you know. So
Yeah.
in his opinion,
Of course, yes. And he
in
was
his
not
opinion,
he's not
and
even
and
right in that.
and the father was waiting of his son. This is the character of God. He's waiting of sons and daughters. And what they are doing, it's not, if they come, and there's forgiveness, there is, but first, welcome home. You belongs in my home. And this is the character of the father. He's always looking for the lost. And in Luke 15, it's the lost sheep, it's the lost coin, and then it's the lost son. So there are three things in that capital. So it's very interesting. God is always looking for what is lost to let it come back.
Good.
And so
Okay.
we have to do the same.
Can we focus on just kidding.
What?
It's fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no one does that. No one does the original point of view of that everybody knows. I'm just saying that there are many other sides, perhaps different sides of the story. And I wouldn't even say this if I wouldn't have seen it. I see it every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
right.
not right. And I'm telling
Right.
you, you are going to lose your best people, the people that you count on, the people who help you build the church, the people who actually make the church. This is the best way to lose them, when you disregard them and you place an idiot over them because the person just had enough of the drug lifestyle, the gang lifestyle, and now he's saved. So let's put him on the pedestal, and let's celebrate him like he's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Excuse you, Jesus is the celebrity. Let's just
Yes.
keep the
Yes.
focus.
Yes. And I have seen working you, Princess Reka, in different situations. You are always at background,
Yeah.
but you were present, always present, just in time. What time it costs, you were there working and take things in place at the just time. You instructed people nice and well, but very brave. You have to do this, you have to do that, and so on and so on. You did it so many times, and you are also for me an example how to work behind the behind the persons. You know, I have seen. I have seen how you did all the job in a very good way and
So yeah, really
accurate
along the
way.
same line, everybody who makes the church, because if you look at, I mean, you don't have a church if you don't have people in it, right? So all the people who are in it, they showing up day in and day out, those are your people. The people that you should be celebrating, the people that you should pay attention to. Don't disregard them. It's not right, it's not fair, and it's not productive. It's going to be counterproductive. Those people are going to leave because they will have enough of your selfishness, of your stupidity, of your lack of people management skills. Please don't do this to yourself. Make sure you celebrate and appreciate the people who help you build your ministry, who help you build your church. And, you know, it's nice to receive back people who are, you know, coming from a different, not church lifestyle, but they should not be your focus in terms of appreciation. I hope I put my point across. I mean, I really hammered it, but
I understand what you're saying.
and I think everybody can relate out there. Okay, so give me a shout out. You just put the comments there if you can relate. I can relate, and you don't need to name names, but I think, you know, I want to honor you. And you know, sometimes what I did on purpose, precisely because no one else does it, I called whenever I was teaching or doing something. I remember I called out all the camera people and I lined them up. I said, these are the people who make it happen.
Yes.
Those are the people you can actually count on. If they don't turn on the recording, whatever you're doing on stage is lost. You can have 400,000 people right there.
Yep.
whatever is not recorded, because of these people, these faithful people who pay attention, they don't really participate because they are serving. Okay,
Mhm.
so there's that. Let's celebrate them. Let's even recognize that these people are here.
Mhm.
Because as you were saying, these people are mostly in the background.
Mhm.
You don't see them. But if they don't record it, you will never be able to enjoy that ministration again, that teaching, that whatever prophecy. It's lost forever. You can't rehearse the Holy Spirit. That person with the camera, especially if there's many, they have to be in the right position at the right time. They have to anticipate the move. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes in there. And these are just the camera people. What about those who arrange the chairs? If they don't clean the chairs, you're not going to be sitting in an unclean chair, in a dirty chair, and you're going to be complaining. What about those who sweep the floors in the churches? There are many people, many churches that are huge audience, huge auditoriums. There's a lot of work to clean. I don't know how many people are in Joel Osteen's church in terms of cleaning staff, but they must be working all day, all week around, because they have services every single day, I think, or some kind of a function. I really appreciate those people who make it look beautiful, make it look clean. And cleaning is an honorable work, but it's not recognized. And I don't think it's right. And at least the church should not be doing the same as the world does. In fact, the world celebrates you more, both financially as well as, they show their appreciation. Not in the least because they don't want to lose you. If you do your job well, background work, they don't want to lose you because they know they are smarter than the Christians many times. They know that if they lose the people who are the pillars of their particular organization, company, whatever, the drivers, the cleaners, I don't know, people who take out the trash, you can't work in a trashed environment. No one's going to come into work. It doesn't speak well of your business if it's dirty. There's a lot you owe to the people who are cleaning for you, for instance, or arranging the chairs, or doing the, I don't know, the live streaming, or the camera thing, or the other technical aspect of your ministry, of your church service. But in most cases, they are absolutely disregarded, overlooked. In my opinion, they are the older brother. You see what I'm saying? They are the older brother. And the younger brother are I was a junkie. I made zillions of money. I could buy this whole church just from the money I have in my pocket. But now I want to be celebrated here as well. I don't think it's right. You know?
I agree
Let's do
totally.
better. We need to do better.
I agree totally. Nevertheless,
Thank you.
the story is the emphasis of the story was not that.
Yeah. True. What I have noticed in the Bible, that not only stories, but also just Bible verses, there are levels and layers of truth.
Yes. Right.
And I think this is one of the truths that I have never heard emphasized, because it's almost like unfashionable to talk about the older brother, because the older brother always seems to be mentioned from the context of, you know what, he was jealous.
Yeah.
Nobody mentions that the guy was serving. The guy was serving every single day. I don't think he had time to enjoy all that he supposedly was his. He didn't have the time to, because someone had to run the business. The father was elderly, from what I understand. So it was mainly falling on the shoulder of the older brother.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Today we are going to celebrate the older brother for once. Even if
Let's
I'm the
do
older
that.
one.
Let's do that.
No, what I'm saying is, I know I keep harping on the older brother. I do want to harp, because we keep harping on the younger brother all the time, and I have enough. I have enough, honestly.
Good for you. Yes.
Yeah, things has to be in balance.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of the layers of truth that was not necessarily taught about. Maybe there are other aspects as well, Maybe the pigs have a story, but maybe the other servants had a story. You know, they all saw what the guy was doing
Yeah.
Mhm.
all these years. I don't think he was doing much work at home, and the servants knew it immediately. Like, this guy's an idiot.
Mhm.
Much like Harry, much like Prince Harry that way. Okay, so that's just my thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, yeah, interesting. I think, yeah, interesting. Like Harry, yeah. The guy is a fool. Now it's known worldwide that he's an absolute fool. He made nothing but ran his whole family name down, squandered the money that he, many other aspects as well. But yeah, he's more like a prodigal son to me, except he did not return yet. But I think he will because he has no other option. It's just my take on
Mhm.
this story. But we
Mhm.
see these stories sadly in the church, and that was my
Yes.
main focus, that we should do
Yes.
that. And
Mhm.
maybe had this been taught in a different way or from different aspects, I wouldn't mind if people take this story, ministers or teachers, whatever. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the younger son. Great guy. He turned around. He had enough sense to come back because the food was better. Okay, so next week we are going to explore the thoughts and the thought process of the older guy, the older son. And then the next Sunday we are going to teach on the father. That would have been a better presentation of the whole story, as opposed to let's just rain on the older son because he was jealous. I think he had every reason to be jealous. He was like, what the F is going on here? He doesn't deserve all the attention he's getting. He doesn't deserve all the celebration. And the only reason he returned because he had no food to eat. That doesn't sound like the right attitude to me. It wasn't like the guy was missing us. He wasn't missing me. He wasn't missing the father. He was missing the good things that he was not having while he was out there.
Yeah.
That's my take on for today. Happy New Year's, everyone. I love
time
that we
I can-
can
already
talk.
good.
I love that we can talk. We don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
to
But it's
censor
true.
ourselves. You don't like it, scroll by. No problem. Trust me. We're not getting money for this. We're just talking, okay? So
It's
this
okay.
happens to be my opinion, and I wanted to share it with you because I don't even know how it came into me. I just the other day I was just thinking, my goodness, I never heard that anybody even mentioning it. So I think many stories in the Bible should be dissected from different perspective, so we could glean from it, not just keep repeating the same stories from the same aspect, because how many times can you polish the same shoe? Sometimes you have to be
Yes.
looking at
To
things
look
from
at
a
it
different perspective,
differently. Yes.
especially if it's still prevalent in the church, because
Yes.
it should not be.
No.
The cookies are
right.
still for the guests.
Say it again. Yeah, I know.
What do
Maybe
you
that's
say,
what should
Philip?
be. That should be the title of this message. Cookies are for the guests only. Brackets, that's not you. That's not you. You're
Don't eat too
just
much
serving. You're just
cookies,
serving
Mark.
and staying in your position and keep things running for the last how many decades. But cookies are not for you. Yeah.
No, we had it many times. We were ministering till the last one came, and then they had his lunch prepared, and we only
Oh,
had one
We have
little slice
only
of
the
bread
peanut
with peanut
butter.
butter.
one slice of bread with peanut butter.
Yes.
I never understood this peanut
because
butter
we
range
were
in the
serving
same thing.
people,
Peanut butter
ministering
is good too.
people, and on the end the food was up, the food was gone, and we had
The peanut butter sandwich.
the leftovers. Yeah, but okay, it's what it is.
Okay, so I believe that God sees the older son, and I don't think he has such a bad opinion of him as we were led to believe.
No.
You see what I'm saying? Because right now it seems like from the story, from what we have heard, the older son was the bad one. He was the
Yeah,
self-righteous
that's what
one.
always is preached,
Isn't
right?
this how it's
Yes.
always been shoved down on our throats?
Yes.
Well, I have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have the right to my own opinion.
Of course.
But
Thank you.
yeah, hopefully it opened up a new perspective for you. And I know I'm not alone. You know, I know many
No.
people who have lived through that, and they almost feel like they have no right to be celebrated. They have no right to be even recognized. And they somehow were led to believe over the decades that that's normal. That's just the way things are, and that's normal, and they should accept it. Well, no. This reminds me of a great story that I was ministering with great prophets from Canada,
Mm.
actually, but from Africa. The person was from Africa, but lives in Canada now. I was ministering with them, and they ministered to my aunt as well. My aunt, who helped build that very church that they were ministering in. So I knew the backstory because she was my aunt, but they didn't. They just came, and they didn't know who the person is. I was ministering with them. I was a translator in that setting, and as she was called out, my aunt was called out, and she raised 4 children, and she's fluent in French because and in other languages as well, because she lived in France. Her husband was French, and then he just recently went home to be with the Lord. But she, she she was the only translator the pastor who established the church from Congo had for like the last 25 years. So imagine every single day she had to be there. She left her work. She had to be there ministering and translating for the pastor because the pastor did not speak Hungarian.
Mm.
Translating is a hard work.
Oh yeah,
Hard
I
work
know.
Oh.
in your brain. Physically, you feel like your mind is buzzing. Those who speak several languages fluently understand what it
Yes.
takes. But since you are doing it fluently and you're doing it with such ease, people tend to believe it's it's easy. It's not easy. It's easy
No.
because you have done it so many times, and now but it's still
Yes.
and she was not getting paid for it. I just want to put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, one thing, I don't think it's right. But the point is, this prophet who knew nothing of this background, he called her forward, and she said, God sees your service. And he didn't know what that is, but I did. And he gives you a blank check. You can write whatever you want, you will get it.
Wow.
And I believe that's God's message. I was there when this prophecy was given, and I just began to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't understand. And I just hugged her, and then I turned to the man of God. I said, she has given her life as a service every single day. First, her own family, raising up 4 children, and of course, serving her husband, doing things at home. And on top of this, she's also doing everything in the church the last 25 plus years.
Wow.
The only translator.
Wow.
So every time the
Wow.
pastor opens his mouth, and Africans like to talk, we know that. Every time he opens his mouth, she has to be there to translate.
Yes.
And she's doing it with a smile on her face. She dedicated literally her life. Now her hair is white completely, but she has her hair turned white. We have this expression in Hungarian. Her hair turned white in service, not in drugs, not on the stage being celebrated. You understand? But in
Yes.
service.
I
And I
understand.
have the greatest and the utmost respect for people like that.
Yeah.
Who have grown old in service.
Yeah.
And I think they have a
Wow.
special gifts in heaven for them, because for the most part, most of them were never
yeah.
even recognized for their services. And I'm talking decades. And if that's you out there, God sees you. God sees you, and I see you too. And I want to
Mhm.
give out a big celebration and a big God bless you and a big shout out for all your service. And to me, you mean more than all those idiots on the stage with their microphone who get the celebration wherever they go just because they are celebrities and they think they actually deserve it. You guys are fools. You had your with this. You had your gifts in full. In heaven, you will not be rewarded for it. That's my conviction. Those who have not been given the honor
Amen
they
and
received,
amen.
the celebration they received, not even the recognition they received all these years, yet they stood
Mhm.
in faith, faithfully, loyally, serving day in and day out, not wavering and not losing their faith, not losing their good attitude, not losing, getting tired of their good works. And the Bible talks about that, right?
Mhm.
Don't get tired of the good works. Don't get tired
Yeah.
of it, even though you are not receiving any kind of any recognition, let alone celebration. But that means more to me than anything that anybody can do on the stage.
Mhm.
And I hope that that these things will change, because there must be justice, at least in the kingdom of God, if not on the earth.
That's
There
true.
must be justice, there must be righteousness, that must be an equalizing thing. And I can tell about my own mother that she has served all her life. She could be on stage. She was an excellent singer, an excellent painter. She was great in a lot of things, but all she did was serving her family, serving the church, serving the ministry, serving her husband, and that's how she went to heaven, in service. So I'm sure God told her that, well done, my good and faithful servant, because that's what she did. That's what she did. And in heaven, she doesn't have to serve that way anymore.
Mhm.
But she did it with a smile on her face, never losing her. She accepted that this is her place.
Mhm.
And I think many people have grown through their whole life, gone old, uh, and many have departed already in service. And that's all they did, served every single day. And I think it's much harder than returning from the pigs because you want the better food. That's just my take on the story, because this is also another aspect that I think it's true. And I
Mhm.
hope people who are out there are being encouraged, you are being seen. And I wish I could give you a big hug for all your service, but in heaven, I'm sure I will. And for those, uh, I don't want to say ministers, but for those people who are in church, who are in charge of these things, I hope that you will take it to heart and recognize those who make your church every single day.
Mhm.
The faceless, nameless people. You know what? If you're a minister, if you're a pastor, and you don't know the people by name who clean your church, shame on you. That's all I want to
Yeah.
say. Shame
Yeah.
on you, because God knows their name. You
That's right.
should you should make an effort to learn the names of the people who
Mhm.
cleaning your church.
Yeah.
Precisely those who clean, who take the trash out.
Right.
You better recognize their name. You better
Yeah.
give them a shout out. You better give them a bonus because they deserve it.
Mhm.
Even if it is their job, even if they have a contract with your church or your ministry, recognize their name. Know them
Mhm.
by
Yeah.
know them by name. Know your camera people by name, because it is their job to make you look good on camera. I know how to run cameras. I learned it very well from Apostle. Thank you, Apostle, for that as well. Uh, I know it is up to us to make you look good on the stage.
Yeah.
And making a very different, a little bit of a different setting or different adjustment on the lights or anything else, or maybe taking you from a different perspective will make you look bad. What I'm saying is we have enormous power behind the camera to make you look good or to make you look bad.
Oh, yeah.
And those
Mhm.
who are also editing, we have the power to. I'm not saying being unfair or being deceitful, purposely putting, editing things so that you would look bad. No, I'm not saying. We don't have to do any of that to make you look bad. It's enough if we just leave all the bad stuff in there that we should be taking out, that would make you look bad. Because maybe you didn't remember that scripture properly, or maybe you didn't remember that person's name properly. You understand? Yeah, purposely. I know I purposely do that. I cut those things so as to make the minister look better. We don't have to do that, but we do it because we serve with our hearts. And if you don't know the name of your camera people, shame on you. If you don't pray for them, shame on you. They have the power to make you look bad or good.
Yeah.
They really do. Just saying. You better be grateful for the people who are serving you in any capacity. What about those who prepare the food for you? They could burn your food.
Yes.
They could. They really could. Or they could put more salt on it. Accidentally. Maybe they like it very salty. So for them, that would be perfect. But they know you don't. So they make sure that they prepare the food to your taste, not to their own. Make sense?
Yes.
Anybody who serves in any capacity, to me, that's the older brother in the church, in the ministry. And may I suggest that the world usually knows how to handle these people, how to treat them right, because they know better than the church and the church people that they need them. If cleaning people are missing, no one's going to come to your church. If the people who make sure that the temperature is right, they are not present or they don't do their job, the church is cold. People are not going to come to a cold church.
That's true.
If there's no if there's no
Heating.
no, the other one. I'm blanking on this word. If there's no fan or the AC, if the AC is not working or the person in charge doesn't turn it on, you will have a hot church. Nobody will go to a hot church. They don't like to sweat. They dressed up nice, lots of makeup, right? Lots of makeup. And I'm showing how thick the makeup is on some people. Not my thing, but whatever, you do whatever you want. Very bad in the summer. You sweat like little piggies. So if the person in charge of the AC doesn't turn on the AC, you're going to be sweating. You better recognize their names and their service. Any other aspects I forgot to mention? These are the things I can think of, can make or break a church service. And the teaching could be excellent, but no one's going to be paying attention because they're going to be either too cold or too hot. Or they're looking around, the flowers arrangement is not right, or they're looking around and the place is filthy. Nobody's going to pay attention to your service. So having said all that, we are all making the church together in different aspects. And in my opinion, and I'm sure God thinks of this the same way, no part is bigger or smaller. We all should work together. And I think it would do a very good, it would do very good to people who are on stage to sometimes work in the background.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows how to sweep a floor, I'm sure. Everybody knows how to mop the floor. Everybody knows how to use a vacuum cleaner. If not, you should learn it. You should learn it. Sometimes I think these groups need to be swapped. I don't trust people who have never served a day in their lives. And I met people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Who never did cables, never laid out the cables, never did cameras. People who don't like being behind cameras, I don't trust them in front of the cameras. Make sense?
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to be celebrated. It's not a big deal. To be clapped to be adored, to be celebrated, to be listed as someone who is, oh, what a great person, what a great teaching. It's not hard to receive the praise. What's hard day in and day out, not to receive any praise, not to receive any recognition, and yet still do your job every single day with the same enthusiasm, day in and day out, decade in and decade out. That's the big deal.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm celebrating the older son today.
Of course.
Many of us
Hallelujah.
have been in
Of
this
course.
situation, or have seen situation like this, where people were put in, maybe not by choice, but put in to the position of the older son,
Yeah.
serving, because no one else is serving.
Yeah.
And someone has to get that job done. Someone has to pay attention to the AC. Someone has to run the cameras. Someone has to lay out the cables. Someone has to mop the floor or sweep the floor or cook the dinner. And they take it upon themselves.
Or
I've
David
seen,
did,
and I
yes.
want to give a big shout out to Pastor Donna, Dr. Reverend Pastor Donna. She is the
Yes.
type of person who always serves.
Yes.
She's comfortable, of course, in front of the cameras, on the stage, teaching, but she's also comfortable serving.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Yes.
I
Yes,
seen her
always.
painting the walls, even late into the night and starting early next day, because no one else does it. And also because she's painting excellently. She's very, very meticulous, and more. I like painting, but
know.
I'm not good at these meticulous things. So many times she said very, very nicely, but she said, maybe you should do something else, because she knew I will not do such a great job. And you understand. So anyway, she's excellent. She's excellent, and she's wonderful. She's serving in front of the cameras, behind the cameras. She knows everything how to do. She cooks beautiful foods. And, you know, many times she's missing the service. She's missing the Our School service or other events. And she could be on stage. She should be on stage, in my opinion, while someone else cooks the dinner, but maybe someone else doesn't like to serve, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Some
Oh
people I
yeah.
have never seen serving. Some people who are on stage, I have never seen a day, an hour of service. All they like to do is sitting in the front.
Mhm.
Those people disgust me. I want to say, you guys are disgusting. All you do, sitting in front and receive the praises and grabbing the microphone every chance you get, you guys are disgusting. You disgust me. You are not a good example. You should never be in that position to grab the microphone if you don't know how to serve in the background. Just my opinion.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I think people would change. A lot of things will change. Atmosphere in churches would change for the better
Oh yes.
if we would rotate the people a little bit. If you don't like to be in the background, I wanna ask why you don't like being in the background.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to if you cannot clean toilets in the background in the church that you claim to serve, I don't trust you with the microphone.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
You should not be on stage with the microphone in your hand if your attitude is that you cannot be serving in the background in whatever capacity you are needed. Because ultimately you are doing all this for the Lord. Is it not what the Bible say? Whatever we do, we are doing. Can we just find that scripture?
Yeah.
I know somebody can quote it by heart, but maybe we can, anybody can
Everything we
put
do
it
for
up.
the Lord. Yeah.
Whatever we
Right.
do, we do it to the Lord. We do it
Unto
for
the
Him.
Lord. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Can we
Amen.
find that scripture?
I can
Just
find
so
it.
that people cannot say that we are Christians, but we don't quote scriptures here. We do quote scriptures here. I'm usually not the one who's quoting the scriptures, but since I have such learned colleagues here who do it much better than I do, I ask them to find the scriptures.
Colossians 3:23 to
Ooh,
24.
good.
And
You're
whatever
fast.
you do, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ.
That's right. So now, whatever you do, he says, do it with all your heart, do it with zeal, because you are serving the Lord. Now, would that include cleaning the toilets?
Oh, yes.
Or would that
Oh,
only
yeah.
be restricted to someone grabbing the microphone and giving whatever teaching they want to give that day? I think it also applies to camera work. It applies to pressing the AC, pushing the AC button. It applies to cooking the dinner. It applies to, I don't know, arranging the chairs, painting the walls. It applies to everything.
They're standing there down the stage with the drunken people around me. in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, wow,
Hold-
okay.
Holding them.
Security people, yeah, security people, ministry team, any kind of capacity, even if you don't have a title to what you're doing, you know, you're not the ministry team, or this is for the cookie of the ministry teams. Maybe it's not you, maybe don't even have the title, but whatever you see, I mean, Apostle always say, see the need and meet it. That's your calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you see a need to arrange the chair, don't wait for the chair committee to come and then make
Right.
arrangements and make a, you know, a panel meeting on how to
Yeah.
arrange the chairs. No, you take that responsibility on
Yeah.
yourself and arrange
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
chair.
Of course.
But
Man,
of
these-
course, to you, because you have a servant's heart. Do you know how many people it's to them? It's like it's out of the question that they would touch anything that's below them. You know, they are. They have a title, they have a, you know, whatever ranking position, they would never touch the chair. They would never pick up that piece of paper from the floor. That is disgusting. You got children, you disgust me. You should never be on stage. You should never sit in front if you are not big. You know, I think there's this beautiful, if I remember correctly, if you're too big to serve, you are too small to reign. Thank you.
That's a good one also.
Don't ever become too big to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever become too big for your britches. Don't ever become too big to serve.
Yeah.
God will not trust you anything big if you are too small, too big to serve.
Mm-hmm. Right. Last time I was in a meeting, and after the meeting we will go to the streets, and we have coffee. But what I do in the row, I see a much of cups lay down on the ground. So I take that row for mine, and then I take all the cups up and then.
And with that, you shamed all those ugly, stupid,
yes, of
lazy
course.
people whose job it should have, who also saw the same litter, but they didn't deign to pick it up, right?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah. So that's a little thing you can do, and to keep the things in the garbage, and to give a smile to the person who.
You know that I'm glad you mentioned it, because see, those who serve,
coffee or tea or
serve
something
are the biggest people, in my opinion and in my eyes. Those who serve, because that's the hard. You are doing the hardest job.
Yeah.
You are doing the hardest job. Camera people, cleaning people, cooking people, AC people, whatever, all these people, everybody who's in the background, they're the biggest people, really. They are, because see, the Bible says, if you want to be the biggest, greatest of all, be the servant of all. And with this attitude, you are setting an example.
I know that Andreas, Apostle Andreas, go to Sweden. I thought Sweden. He go at vacation with
20 years ago.
with his family, and the Lord told him to get one suit with him. And guess what? Apostle Charles was in Sweden, and he have drive the apostle from meeting to meeting.
Yeah.
The whole vacation.
Yeah, also drivers. Yes, let's not forget about drivers.
That was his vacation, so to say. Yes,
yeah.
You know, serving, and yeah, and it always touched me when people do that sort of things. It's always touched me.
Yeah. And it's an honor to serve people, really.
Of course.
Especially if they are great men of God, men and women of God. But I know some people like to receive men and women of God, great men and great ministers, I should say just ministers. They like to hear their teachings, but when it comes to serving them, they don't want to do that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They would sit in the front, but they wouldn't drive him around, for instance. Or they wouldn't cook the meal, maybe for the better, maybe they don't know how to cook. But I'm just saying that they wouldn't do some kind of a service-oriented situation for them, or, you know, because they feel like they are too big.
Yeah.
I think you are disgusting. That's all I wanted to say.
A lot of
People
memories.
who have this mindset, they are disgusting. They are small. A big person knows how to serve. A big person has no problem tying your shoelaces. Jesus didn't have a problem washing the people's dirty feet. He knew he's not going to lose his crown. We have this expression in Hungarian. The crown didn't fall off his head because he was serving.
Of course not.
But you can lose yours if you don't. Ha!
Oh,
That's a good
yes.
one. I should take a quote from myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you could lose yours. I really believe you could lose yours. Because he said, if you want to be the greatest of all, be the servant of all. Funny how Joseph knew how to serve in the prison or in Potiphar's house.
Yes.
And then he also knew how to reign. How did he know how to reign? He never had to receive a reigning training, a training for reigning, because he already knew how to serve in the prison and in Potiphar's house. And the guy was a person of excellence. He was already prepared for the palace because he knew how to serve. Those were his training for reigning was in the year of preparation, was in Potiphar's house and in the prison. So today I'm celebrating the older son and I'm booing the younger son. Don't be a fool like the younger son. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
If I can add just one thing,
absolutely, please do.
uh,
Otherwise, I keep talking.
going back to the younger son, to the one who did wrong. It says in verse 16, the son was so famished, he was willing even to eat the slop given to the pigs because no one would feed him a thing. Why would no one feed him a thing?
I think no one else was around.
I think I think that they were, but I think that they recognized him for who he was and what he must have really done some really stupid things and nobody felt sorry for him.
Okay, you're right.
That's
you're
what
right.
I think.
Good point.
That's
Good
what
point.
I think, because it wouldn't have said no one would feed him anything
It's true.
if there weren't anybody there to feed him.
You're right. He must have asked for food, but they wouldn't give it him. Yeah, you're right. Very good point. Excellent point.
Because it said, so he begged the farmer in that country. So at least there was the farmer, if no one else.
Yeah.
And no one was willing to feed him a thing. So people must have recognized that he had a lot of money when he came, and he squandered it, and they witnessed that, and
he was with
his
the thieves.
attitude. Yeah, and witnessed his bad attitude, right? And
oh yeah, you're right.
So, and I found in life experience, I've found that no matter how downtrodden a person is, even if it's self-inflicted, there's always somebody there who is willing to feel sorry for the person and help them. And yet in this situation, no one was willing to feed him a thing. So that's pretty.
There must have been a reason for it. You're right.
Pretty harsh, yeah. So then it says humiliated. The son
because even for a beggar, people give something, right? But he was even lower than the beggars.
That's what I'm thinking, right? And so I haven't quite seen it this way before. You also mentioned that people are not always recognized who have served and so on. And I wrote here, there was a lady that mentored me many years ago. Her name was Norma. And there was people, one day we were just kind of giving testimonies and things like that. And she turned and said to everyone, you know, it's too bad I don't really have a testimony.
Mm.
And I looked at her and I said, "Are you kidding me right now?" I said, "You have never left God. You have been serving
Wow.
faithfully all these years.
Wow.
That is a testimony in itself. What is it about that serving and about loving God and knowing about God that you've never left, that you've always served?" And I really was quite passionate about it when I said that to her. And so she turned, and I don't think she'd ever thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And so she kind of
Because you're
lit
right, to
up a
your
little
point,
bit.
we have been conditioned to think that,
Mhm.
oh, if you have a great testimony, that must have been, I was boozing,
Yeah,
dancing, scores, drugs, running drug trafficking, this and that. Other than that, anything less than this is not a testimony. Excuse
right,
you.
right, right.
So it has to be colorful, it has to be exciting, to be entertaining. Other than that, you don't have a testimony, right?
Yeah, because
Mhm.
Paul's was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Paul's was very, I don't mean entertaining, but I mean going
Colorful.
around and killing people. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yet he said,
Yeah.
"I count that as rubbish." In fact, no one trusted him. He had built a reputation. No one had
That's
trusted
right.
him.
That's right. That's right.
And then it took, forgive me, I'm trying to
Yeah, one of
remember his
those
name. Anyways, but it took that one man to come and say, "No, no, guys, he's actually really good.
yeah,
He's genuinely changed." He
yeah,
took that time and recognized that, and he became the person to introduce him and
yeah.
say that it's okay, right? And
Excellent
even
point.
there, and even there, he went and he trained for many years before, it says for 3 years he went off and he was training and so on, and then he came back
Yeah,
and
that's
began
true.
to uh
See, I'm glad you
share the
mentioned it.
gospel.
So even Apostle Paul had to be trained for years, but
Yeah,
Justin Bieber doesn't have to be, right? He can just grab the
yeah,
microphone, hoist it up on the, big stage,
Mhm.
and
yeah,
then be a celebrity there.
yeah,
Mhm.
See, one of the aspect of it, you don't do any service to this newcomer, to the prodigal son, if you put him back to this position. You don't
yeah,
do him any service. He never
no,
learned anything.
no,
Mhm.
that's true. That's very
Yeah,
true. Being raised Mennonite, we all had to participate in doing everything.
excellent.
And just like you said, everybody did everything. No one was excused.
That's how it should
Age,
be.
okay. Age, okay. We did things that were age appropriate, yeah. But at the same time, everybody did something, even the kids,
Yeah,
go and clean up the tables. In
yeah.
fact, in fact, I just went recently to Drayton Valley, and we had over 3,000 people coming to gather and intercede for Canada and so on. And Rodney Howard-Browne was there, and there was many others that were there. It cost people nothing. The speakers themselves donated the money, that everything was supplied. Food was supplied. There was people serving. The tents were there. There was chairs there, and so on. And even the children, it was so interesting because we had to volunteer, and I volunteered, others volunteered. But there was this one girl in particular. She must
Mhm.
have been 8 years old, and she went around picking up dishes from everyone. And she did it
Wow.
with not only a
Mm.
smile, she was energized by it. She loved it. She was
Yeah.
able to do something and participate, only to find out that her and her family were Mennonite. And I thought, oh, there you go.
Oh, there
So
you go.
it doesn't matter what age you are,
Mhm.
you can do something.
Mhm.
She
And
was
now,
raised
like,
well.
yeah, and now too,
Mhm.
like Annette and I, we both serve at the church and so on, and Annette is actually paid for cleaning and so on there. She has the contract, but Annette goes above and beyond, and I help her with whatever and so on whenever I can. And the pastor there actually
That
is
sorry,
calling.
to interrupt. Does Annette also clean like physically herself, or just runs
Yes,
her cleaning?
yes. No, no, no,
She
no.
cleans
She
physically?
cleans. She
Oh,
she
give
does
big shout out to her.
she does the majority of it. Yeah. Sometimes it's too much, and so she's thankful that she has enough income that she's able to pay people to help, because
Wow.
it's so much. It would be
Of
it's an
course.
it's an enormous church actually.
Dirt always comes, it always accumulates.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you'll never run
especially in
out. It's like
winter.
you do it one day, next day you have to do it. So of course, she will never run out of work.
Especially in winter now too, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really good that our pastor, he pardon me, he actually has a servant heart to the point that he kind of doesn't want to burden people and he wants to kind of do everything, but he
Oh,
knows that he can't do everything. So we're like, Annette and I are constantly saying, what can we do to help you? What can we do to make it easier for you? And that kind of thing, right?
kind of
And
like
our church
Moses. Moses needed the two,
yeah,
Aaron and
yeah.
her.
Mhm.
And I do find that because he sets that precedent, most people in the church serve in one way or another, whatever they can do. There's only so many jobs to go around, but there's always people there welcoming people, and they have a tag on so they can
Wow.
recognize them as that person. And there's always people volunteering their time that if you're a newcomer, that you can go to the back room and you get a certificate for free coffee and you go talk to these
Yeah.
people and they'll talk any
Yeah.
questions you have. And just like it's run very, very well and very efficiently, and there's many people volunteering in those roles. And so I'm really glad to see that in this church, that it is from top down serving. Like there's chairs that need to be well, there's an addition now, so there's a large sanctuary, but it used to be we had to set up chairs in the gymnasium, which is where we had the sanctuary. That was the sanctuary. We had to set up chairs before service and take them down at the end of the service because of other activities that were
Of
going
course.
on. And he was always there. The pastor was always there, setting up chairs, taking them down, and answering questions to people. Or if there was people that needed ministry help, he would come and apologize. I'm so sorry I had to help these people, but I'm here for chairs. We're like, really? It's okay. You're always here helping,
Wow.
you know. So
Mhm.
so what you're saying is very important, and a serving church is what we should be. Jesus demonstrated that, and told us that that's what we all should be, how to
Mhm.
have that servant heart. And I'm
Mhm.
very thankful that it was demonstrated to me from a child. I haven't
Yes.
always, I don't always want to, but I know that it's necessary. And so I may not feel like I want to help, feel like I want to do something, but I will go. The other day, Annette called and she said, "Mark, look, there's going to be a bunch of people coming. I'm in the church cleaning, but there's freezing rain outside, and nobody's going to come before all the others, and I'm afraid people might slip." Well, I had been working all day, and she called me
Mhm.
and told me that,
Yeah.
and the last thing I wanted to do was something else. I was tired, I was whatever.
Of course,
I
but you
didn't
see that has nothing to do with your attitude. It's just your
know.
body was tired. It's perfectly
Yeah,
understandable.
yeah. And so then I went there and I got out of my car. The moment I stepped, I almost slipped in the parking lot.
Oh
I'm like, whoa,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's very right. So, and we have all the salt and everything there to melt it, and just did it, right? And so she was very thankful and so on. And yeah, so but it's just those kinds of things, whatever is necessary, just do it, right? And I'm not trying to build myself up to say that I'm
Oh,
perfect and do everything
feel free.
perfectly,
I do it all the
but
time. No one asked us, so. You
but
know
like
who
I
I
say,
learned it
yeah.
from? I learned it from Trump. He said, "Toot your own horn. No one else
Oh
will do
yeah,
it." No,
there
he
you go.
literally said
Too
it
too
in
Yeah.
too
one of his
sure?
24.
Toot your
Your
own
own
Huh?
horn.
horn.
Toot your own horn. No one else will
Okay.
do it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember this
yeah,
specifically in one of his books. I always remember this time, and he's right. He's
mm,
doing it too, and he's right. But
yeah,
there's nothing
Yes,
wrong with
he's
that.
doing it too. Yeah.
yeah. And more now too. Like we just had a teaching as well that the whole church went through the same book all together and had
Oh,
even the sorry, the groups that gather, the small groups.
uh-huh.
The whole thing was all about this book and how to serve and how to so on in the church. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was, don't just after church go home immediately. Look for someone who you can reach out to. Someone might need your help. Someone might need prayer. Someone might
Yeah.
need ministry.
Yeah.
And I thought that's so good to collectively do that. And there was just recently a young lady who was serving in the church. Like everybody just loves her. All she does is serve, and she does it with a smile, and she loves to do it. She was in a major car accident and broke her femurs, broke her arms, broke
Oh
her
my
skull,
goodness.
broke her internal organs and everything like that. And we together as a church, he said, anyone who wants to, let's stay behind and pray for her and intercede for her. And about 3/4 of the church stayed behind, and we all gathered. And
As well as they should.
even though not everybody went to the microphone, it was a large agreement, a group of
Praise
agreement.
God.
And we are believing for her to be restored. And yeah, so that was really good. And it was really good to see that people do genuinely care. It's not just
Yeah.
whatever. And
But also there's
genuine.
another, while you were talking, I was thinking that there's another aspect and there's another reason why we should all serve in the church or in the ministry. When you don't serve somewhere, you don't have ownership.
Yeah.
But you have ownership. You take ownership when you pick up that piece of paper because you take it as your own responsibility. So that also builds, especially when you're talking about the little girl serving, early on, it's already built into her that she is not a spectator there or a guest, even though a regular guest, but like, you feel part of a community when you do something for that community, even if it's picking up the paper or I don't know, just doing something in the background. You immediately you feel more part of it because you are involved, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a reason why why it's set that way, that we should serve each other. And funny how the Lord doesn't, I mean, in the Bible, it doesn't say this group serve the other group. This says you serve each other,
Right.
isn't it? I'm not saying every pastor has to clean the church, but to some people, to some ministers, and to some great shots, it would do very good. It would do a great deal of good to sweep the floors and not just be up on stage with a microphone in their hands and acting like celebrities and acting like they are too big for their britches.
Yeah.
Big for their
right.
boots.
Yeah.
It's not about the sweeping, it's about the servant's heart. And if you have not served in a long time, you tend to lose that servant's heart, because why would you have a servant's heart if all you are doing is walking around like a celebrity in your own church? I have seen so many times Apostle laying out cables, so I come from a media background, that, and film industry. The lowest on the totem pole are the cable layers. You're not a producer, you're not the star of the show, you're laying out cables. This is the lowest of lows.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that I know how to lay out cables too. I have learned it too. Apostle made sure that I was trained on every position. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And number one, I have an overall view of the whole thing. Whenever I delegate, I know exactly what I'm expecting because I've been there, done that. I know it can be done. So no one can come back to me and say, you know what, it cannot be done. No. I've done it long before you have ever been born, most cases. Okay? So don't tell me it cannot be done. You cannot pull anything on me. But the other thing is, I've been there. To me, it's nothing to lay out a cable. I have no problem with that. I don't feel like my crown is not, I don't lose my crown over that. My crown is not falling off of my head. I did it for many years in many, many countries, in high heels, fully dressed, like very properly dressed, with long fingernails. At that time, I had long fake nails, and hair, makeup, jewelries. I knew how to do it. So there's nothing you can tell me that no, it cannot be done. I did it all that, and I also knew how to pack up the place in terms of gather the cables, putting all the equipment, and putting them in the same outfit, in high heels. So no man can tell me, I can do it in high heels. 10-inch, can you? Hello.
Yes, you did.
So
Yeah.
anyway, all I'm saying is that, if I can serve in that capacity, then maybe
Mhm.
others can too, because I've done it. So to me, but I know I tried to delegate it to someone, kind of like the younger son type of person. And he turned around and delegated it to someone else.
Ooh. Whoops.
I looked at him, how come you're standing here? Didn't I ask you to lay out the gifts?
Yeah.
No, I delegated it to someone else. I said, you are missing the point. I gave you a chance to serve.
Mhm.
I could have done it myself. It's not a big deal. But I wanted to
Mhm.
give you an opportunity to just for once in your life to serve.
Mhm.
He missed the opportunity. He never learned how to serve. I have never seen that person serve a day in his life. And he did not become successful in our ministry. All he knew how to parade on stage with a microphone in his hand. That's all he knew how to do. Never learned how to
Yeah.
serve. Didn't have a long career in Christianity. He's off on his third wife, I believe, or something like that. 2 divorces at the very least, children's left, right, and center, so whatever. So I'm not saying this directly connected, but I think it is kind of connected to that he never learned to serve because he missed the point. He missed the point. It's not about the cable. I could do better than anybody else. I trained all of them. But you thought it to be a very low job for yourself. So I had a small talk with him. So I want to teach you how to run cameras. I want to teach you how to do the cables. Again, it's an opportunity. He didn't pay me for it. And he said, so I said, so what are you going to do when you're going to run your own church and you don't have all this knowledge? He said, oh, I'm just going to hire people and pay them to do it. You don't understand. I just laughed, you don't understand. I have given you an opportunity to learn all these things so that you can be independent. Nobody can ever say that it cannot be done or whatever. You would have been so rounded in your knowledge, which is, I think, is always a good thing in everything. This whole process of recording the whole thing, run a show, teach, whatever, all this from A to Z, all by yourself, if need be. I'm just going to hire people. Whatever. You just missed an opportunity to learn and to be on a different level. He never learned it. He would always hire people. I said, fine, good. Whatever. What can you do? I said, it's your life.
What can you do?
Your life. But anyway, any last words?
No, I really enjoyed the teaching, and it's a very good perspective, and I think it is actually correct.
Thank
There's
you.
many different aspects that we can take on it, of course. But this is really good. I really learned something here. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There are a lot of memories who went through my mind in this evening. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any thoughts? Last thoughts, last words, Alexander?
Thank you so much, Princess Reka. It is always good to remember to serve and to respect the persons who served too. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's do it together.
Yes, definitely. But we are all servants here, so I know that you guys can speak for yourself as well.
Yeah.
And you have all these decades, much longer than my experience, decades of experience of being in the background, serving day in and day out. Beautiful attitude. And I know it doesn't hurt you to be, in this position. But I also want to point out that this is not right. Just because it has been done this way all these years,
I know.
being ignored, being disregarded, it's still not correct. And we should do better.
I know.
We should do better. And I just once again want to encourage people, and I think more people are serving than those who are not in a church, because it requires a lot of people to keep the things running all the time, even in aspects we don't even think of. unless we are involved in that process.
No.
So God sees you.
Uh,
God sees what you're doing. God sees your faithfulness, and God rewards faithfulness.
mhm,
And He's pleased with your faithfulness.
mhm.
So just want to bless you.
Yeah.
Celia, any
Yeah.
last words? You're good.
Muted.
You have to unmute yourself. We like to hear you.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it was great what you said. Yeah, because yeah, I experienced people serving in church, and I mean, I have done, but it was, and I'm going to go back. But yeah, for the little ones that do, it's so meaningful, and yeah, yeah. The thing is, yeah, God does see your heart and see what you do. So
That's right.
I think
God
it's
rewards faithfulness. And He
yeah,
also said that if you are faithful on the little, He will trust you with more.
yeah,
If you
that's
are
it. Yeah.
faithful on someone else's, He will give you yours. So that's what I'm still waiting for. Just a sideline here.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think everybody can speak for themselves.
Mhm.
There are aspects of things that God still has not
Mhm.
materialized in our lives along that line. And but He sees our faithfulness, He sees our servanthood and our loyalty. My goodness, even isn't it Solomon who said that loyal people is very hard to find? Much harder now than in those days, in my opinion. So, but we are all loyal here. We are all servants here. We are all faithful here. But we also know how to run around with a camera or with a microphone in our hands. But we don't run around in the front because we don't want to be in the background, because we do both. And I think that this is how it should be. And we are setting a good example for the rest of the world.
Mhm.
We just
Mhm.
are. Okay,
Mhm.
it's my perspective anyway. So thank you for being with us. Join us next time, whenever it will be, hopefully next Tuesday, unless I will become a Hollywood big star in that way. And in that case, I will no longer will come here anymore, and you guys will be all forgotten. But you know, I'm joking. Anyway, I love you guys very much. Thank you for being with me. And this was a long session, so I really commend you guys to push it. But yeah, and keep up the good work, and I know you will, because that's what your heart is. Love you guys. See you next time.
You do.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New
Happy New
Year.